Welcome to Ridgewood Hills. When Jake Henderson packed the last box into the back of the U-Haul, he told himself this was it, the start of a new chapter, a fresh life, a better life, the kind of place where your kids could ride bikes on clean streets, and you didn't have to worry about hearing gunshots or traffic at 2 a.m. Ridgewood Hills wasn't just any neighborhood. It was the kind that looked handpicked out of a real estate brochure. Manicured lawns, pastel-colored houses, friendly neighbors who waved just a bit too long, and that big, polished sign at the entrance that said, "Welcome home, where harmony lives." Jake smiled when he saw it the first time. His wife, Emily, smiled too, though hers looked a little forced. The kids were too busy arguing over who got the bigger bedroom to notice the way the air felt slightly heavier when they crossed into town. The move had been a leap of faith. Jake's company was downsizing, and Ridgewood Hills was affordable luxury. The realtor, a woman named Debbie with a smile that could melt glaciers, told them it was a safe, close-knit community. She mentioned the HOA, the Homeowners Association, like it was some divine blessing. "They keep everything perfect here," she'd said. "We like perfection, don't we?" Yeah, Jake liked it perfectly, until he realized perfect had rules. Lots of them. The first letter arrived the day after they moved in. A simple white envelope taped to their front door. No stamp, no handwriting, just typed words, "Welcome to Ridgewood Hills. Please remember to keep your trash cans out of public view and ensure your lawn meets HOA standards. To 0.5 inches height, no weeds. Violations will be fined." Jake laughed it off. "Well, that's one way to say hello." Emily didn't laugh. She glanced across the street where a man was watering his lawn. Same time, same motion, like a metronome. When he noticed her looking, he waved, and didn't stop waving until she went inside. That night, Jake unpacked the last of the kitchen boxes while Emily tucked in the kids. He noticed something strange out the window, a faint glow down the street. Someone had their porch light flickering on and off, over and over. Here. Steady rhythm, almost like Morse code. Jake squinted, then shrugged. Probably some kid messing around. He went to bed, but just before sleep took him, he heard it. A soft hum, low, mechanical, like an electrical box buzzing right under the floor. And then, a click. Silence. Morning came with the sound of lawnmowers. Every single house. Same time, same direction. Left to right, then right to left. Jake stood at the window, toothbrush in his mouth, and watched a dozen neighbors cutting their grass in synchronized harmony, like they were part of some suburban cult. "Guess it's lawn day," he muttered. "Lawn day?" Emily asked, pouring coffee. "Yeah, seems like the whole street got the memo." She frowned. "Except we didn't get one." Jake smiled, half joking.
"Well, that's one way
Maybe
to say
we're already
hello."
behind on the rules. Later that day, they met their next-door neighbor, Mrs. Delaney, sweet woman. Or at least that's how she introduced herself. She wore pastel cardigans, smelled like lavender, and carried a plate of cookies that looked so perfect Jake wondered if she bought them from a prop store. "Welcome to the neighborhood," she said. "We're so glad you moved in. We don't get new families often." Emily smiled politely. "Thank you, that's very kind." "Oh, it's no trouble. We just love new faces. It keeps the community fresh." Her eyes lingered on Jake a little too long. Then on the front yard. "You'll want to mow by Friday," she added sweetly. "They check on Saturdays." "Who's they?" Jake asked. Mrs. Delaney's smile didn't falter. "The HOA, of course." Then she leaned closer, lowering her voice just slightly. "And a word of advice? Don't ask too many questions. It makes them nervous." That night, Jake found another envelope taped to the door. "Notice, your exterior light does not meet Ridgewood standards. Please replace it with an approved fixture." He stared at it for a long time. "You've got to be kidding me," Emily sighed. "Jake, maybe we should just replace it. We don't want to start trouble. I'm not spending $100 on a damn light bulb because some board committee says it's too warm-toned." Emily hesitated. "They fined the woman across the street for having wind chimes." Jake laughed. "Yeah, right." She didn't laugh back. Over the next week, the town's perfect image started to crack. At 9 p.m. every night, the same streetlights flickered in sequence, one after another, like a countdown. Then all the lights went dark for exactly 13 seconds before turning back on. The mailman never spoke. He just stared, slid envelopes into mailboxes, and moved on. Jake swore he saw the same man standing at the end of their street 3 nights in a row, facing their house, not moving, and the sound under the floor, still there, louder now, a rhythmic thump like a heartbeat deep in the foundation. One night, Jake finally said screw it. He grabbed a flashlight and went outside. The air was colder than it should have been. Every house had its curtains drawn, except one, across the cul-de-sac. A faint blue glow pulsed from inside. He crossed the street, stepped onto the grass. That's when a voice came from behind him. Evening, Mr. Henderson. Jake turned. It was Tom, the HOA president, the man who'd welcomed them on move-in day with a clipboard and a smile so stiff it looked stapled on. Late night stroll? Tom asked, eyes never blinking. Yeah, just stretching my legs, Jake said. Tom's gaze drifted to the house Jake was approaching. I wouldn't go near that one. Why not? Tom smiled thinly. They moved out last month. Jake frowned. Moved out? But the lights are on. Tom's smile twitched. That's not their light. Jake didn't sleep that night. At 3:17 a.m., the porch light outside turned itself on, and a shadow crossed the hallway, too tall to be Emily, too slow to be human. He sat up, heart hammering. Emily. No answer. Then, faintly, from downstairs, the front door clicked. He grabbed the bat from under the bed and crept down. The air smelled metallic, like burnt wires. The door was locked, but there was another envelope taped to it. This one wasn't typed. It was handwritten, shaky, desperate. You can't leave. The HOA knows everything. Jake froze. And then, just beneath that note, was a smear. Dark, thick, like dried blood. By morning, Jake was a wreck. He told Emily everything. The noises, the letters, the man outside, the note. Emily listened, pale, clutching her coffee like it was keeping her alive. Jake, she whispered. Maybe it's just the stress. The move, the new job. He shook his head. You didn't hear it. The sound under the floor. The lights. She hesitated. What if we call someone? The HOA president? Jake laughed bitterly.
We like perfection, don't we?
Let's call the guy who told me the ghost house still has its lights on. But when he went outside later, something had changed. Every mailbox on the street had the same letter taped to it. Mandatory HOA meeting, Friday, 8 p.m., attendance required. And below that, handwritten in red ink, absences will not be tolerated. Friday came too soon. Jake told himself he wasn't going. He told Emily they'd pack up, get the kids, and drive away. But when he tried to start the car that morning, nothing happened. The battery was dead. Both cars. Emily frowned. That's impossible. They were fine last night. Jake tried to laugh it off, but something in the back of his head whispered that it wasn't an accident. By afternoon, every neighbor was outside, washing driveways, trimming hedges, all in perfect rhythm again. The same smile, the same wave. Jake told Emily to stay inside with the kids while he checked something. He walked down the street. Nobody made eye contact, but every one of them whispered the same thing when he passed. See you tonight. See you tonight. See you tonight. He stopped by Mrs. Delaney's house. The blinds were closed, but the faint sound of a voice, not hers, came through the door. Something mechanical, almost like a recording, playing on repeat. He backed away slowly. When he got home, there was another envelope taped to the door. This one thicker. Inside was a printed agenda for the HOA meeting, with a line at the bottom, new business. The Henderson family, review and adjustment. The sun dipped, and Ridgewood Hills looked painted in gold. Beautiful to beautiful. The kind of beauty that feels fake, like it's hiding something ugly underneath. Jake didn't want to go, but the fear of what would happen if he didn't. That was worse. At 7:55 p.m., he and Emily left the kids asleep upstairs and walked to the clubhouse. Every porch light on the street flickered in perfect rhythm as they passed. 1, 2, 3. Then darkness. The clubhouse was huge, spotless, smelling like disinfectant and cinnamon. Rows of chairs faced a podium where Tom, the HOA president, stood with his clipboard. Everyone else sat quietly, eyes fixed forward, hands folded neatly in their laps. Jake. Emily. Tom's voice boomed with artificial cheer. We're so glad you could make it. Please have a seat. Jake hesitated. What exactly is this about? Tom smiled. Just community matters. We keep things harmonious. They sat. The lights dimmed. A screen lowered from the ceiling, showing live security footage of the neighborhood. Every street, every yard, every home, including theirs. Jake's breath caught. The footage zoomed in. Their living room, their kitchen. Their children are sleeping. Emily grabbed his hand. What is this? Tom adjusted his glasses. Ridgewood Hills operates under a strict policy of safety and surveillance. We protect what's ours. Jake's voice trembled with anger. You're spying on people. Not spying, Jake. Monitoring. It's what keeps everyone safe. And in line. He clicked a remote. The footage changed. The basement. Jake blinked, but the camera angle wasn't from anything he'd installed. It was coming from inside the walls. The screen showed movement. A dark shape, crawling. Something shifting through the crawl space like an animal, but too large, too slow. Emily gasped. What is that? Tom turned to the crowd. You see, neighbors, this is why the rules matter. When residents ignore maintenance protocols, things get in. Jake stood up. We're leaving. But the doors behind them locked automatically. A metallic click echoed through the room. Tom smiled, eyes glinting. We can't let you do that, Jake. Not until you understand. The lights flickered, and suddenly, every neighbor turned their head toward him in perfect unison. Their smiles didn't reach their eyes. Tom continued calmly. Ridgewood Hills isn't just a neighborhood. It's a preservation. The rules aren't about lawns or lights. They're about containment. Containment of what? Jake demanded.
Before they finish
Tom's
the grid.
voice softened. You've heard it. Beneath the floors. The hum. The heartbeat. It feeds on chaos, on disobedience. The HOA exists to keep it satisfied. Jake stared. You're insane, am I? Tom pressed a button. The screen showed their own house again. Now the living room floor bulged. Like something was pressing from underneath. Emily screamed. Tom turned to the audience. It's awake. The ground trembled. The lights cut out. For a moment, there was silence, then a low, wet sound from outside. Jake grabbed Emily's hand. We're getting the kids. They ran, pounding on the locked doors until finally one gave way. The night outside was filled with that same electric hum, louder now, vibrating through the air like a swarm of invisible bees. They sprinted home. The street was empty, but every house light flickered in rhythm with the sound, like the whole neighborhood was breathing. When they reached their house, the front door was wide open. Inside, the furniture was rearranged, perfectly symmetrical. Every toy lined up, every picture straightened, except one, a framed photo of their family, now cracked down the middle. Emily rushed upstairs. The kids were gone. Only their beds remained, perfectly made, untouched. Jake's voice broke. No or no, no. Then he heard it. The basement door creaked open by itself. He descended slowly, flashlight shaking. The air was thick with dust and something metallic. The hum was louder here, deep and pulsing. At the bottom of the stairs, the concrete floor wasn't concrete anymore. It was breathing. Tiny ripples moved across it like waves. He whispered, Emily, don't come down. But she was right behind him. Her voice trembled. Jake, what is that? He stepped closer and saw faces on the rippling surface. Dozens of them. Some looked like neighbors, some didn't. Their mouths moved silently, whispering things he couldn't understand. Suddenly, the walls shuddered, and the hum rose into a deafening drone. Jake stumbled backward, grabbing Emily's hand. Run! They raced upstairs, but when they reached the front door, it wasn't their house anymore. The street outside looked the same, but subtly wrong. The colors are too bright, the shadows too deep. The houses looked copied, like someone tried to rebuild them from memory. Jake turned in circles. Emily, what's happening? She didn't answer. He looked, and she wasn't there. He ran toward Mrs. Delaney's house, pounding on the door. It opened immediately. Inside, everyone from the meeting sat perfectly still, eyes vacant, facing a blank TV screen that flickered with static. Tom stood among them, smiling faintly. Congratulations, Jake. You made it through orientation. Jake's voice broke. Where's my family? Tom gestured toward the screen. The static shifted, revealing footage of Jake's home. But it wasn't the same. The house looked new again. And inside, Emily and the kids were unpacking boxes, smiling, laughing. Jake whispered, That's not real. Tom's tone was calm. It's harmony, Jake. You wanted peace, remember? Ridgewood Hills provides peace. You just have to let go of the noise. Jake backed away. No, you can't. But when he looked at his own hands, they were trembling, fading around the edges like static on a screen. Tom's voice grew distant, echoing, Welcome home, Mr. Henderson. The next morning, the Henderson house looked perfect again. The lawn was trimmed, the porch light was replaced, a for sale sign taken down, and a new family arrived. They smiled for a photo with Debbie, the realtor, and as the camera flashed, the faint hum started again under the street, soft, rhythmic, waiting. Inside the clubhouse, Tom filed another report into a folder labeled Assimilation Complete. He turned off the lights, and outside, Ridgewood Hills gleamed in the morning sun, clean, quiet, perfect to perfect. When Jake moved into his new home, he thought life would be peaceful. He just didn't realize. Peace had a price.